Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Commentary's Magic Stream on tonight, Sunday, January 20th, 2019. I am, as always, Grandpaws.
Big Cheese.
Aracat, and with us today we've got special guest. That's your cue.
Hey, this is Max here tonight with you.
Hey, Max here tonight with you.
Glad to have you.
Are you rested and recovered from the madness that was Vanhoover?
As much as you can be, I think.
Well, that's good enough.
It was, as far as cons go, relatively chill, and I appreciated that. But attendance was great.
We had actually quite a few people.
Yeah, we did. A lot of people were coming by, checking out what was going on in the CCG room. CCG supposedly shared it with Tabletop.
People were playing tabletop stuff.
That's true. We did play a couple tabletop games.
Yeah. Played Headband, which was great.
I missed Headband.
You did miss Headband.
I am sad pony.
Yeah. But that's not what we're here to talk about now, is it?
I don't know. We could do an entire Headband stream.
Yeah. No.
No?
I'd watch it. I'd watch it.
Oh, well, there we go. Potential stream suggestion. Anyway, no. Ara is right. That's not what we're here to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we're trying to get back on form after being away for so long. It's just wait, what are we doing again?
How many months has it been since we...
If you're looking at the calendar, it's been an entire year, but yeah, I know you're mentally throwing stuff at me.
If you were closer, I'd be throwing physical things at you.
Okay,
but you're not.
If you've got an arm that can get something about 800 miles from California to Washington, I want to see this.
Just call me Uncle Rico.
Anyway, onward with the topic. So what are we doing here today anyway? I mean, I know it says already, but come on.
Talking about ponies. Like we do every week. Wait, every time?
Every time is a better descriptor of it.
Yes.
Specifically, we're talking about a format that we haven't really covered in a serious manner in some time. That's right, we're talking about Nightmare.
Beyond Block Popper?
No.
Yeah, Nightmare.
Nightmare. It's still Guidance Counselor.
We have not had a Nightmare tournament since FF came out.
No, we haven't. I believe that one can wait for a while, thank you.
All right, should we dial back the degeneracy just a little bit?
I believe we should, yes.
Okay, let's just stick with Harmony.
It's not
How's
very
that sound?
Much. It's about as degenerate.
And no.
It's kind of close.
Compared to
what?
Compared to Beyond Block Popper, yeah, I would agree, but no.
Beyond Block Popper has main 6 in it very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you know what it doesn't have?
Oh, no, wait. No, Beyond Block Popper does not have main 6. Beyond Block has main 6.
Yeah, that's why we're playing Popper.
Okay. That makes a little more sense.
Okay.
Anyway, we are talking about Harmony tonight. Specifically, we're talking about the results of the Harmony Constructed Tournament from Vanhoover 2019 last weekend. First off, a big thank you to eBugle and Hithrock for remotely commentating. It was great to have you there. Hope you got to see some fun matches. And thank you to everyone who tuned in and watched the stream live last weekend.
And also thank you to everyone who showed up. In person.
Yay,
You're welcome.
Thanks, Max. This is why we really wanted you here, so that we could thank you in person. Sort of.
Over the internet.
Over the internet.
In an impersonal sort of.
They're appreciated all the same.
Cool. The last time we had really covered a Harmony tournament was Everfree, I think?
Everfree did have a Harmony tournament, but yeah, I don't remember when the last time we had a serious Harmony tournament was. It's probably been a while.
This was, in fact, the only constructed tournament that we ran at Vanhoover. We had a couple limited events, and they were tons of fun. But Harmony, after FF came out, and after the release of the Sands of Time mains, definitely looks a little bit different. And so tonight we're going to be going over what we saw. We've got 12 deck lists here from all 12 participants, which is great.
Deck lists
And
weren't
then-
even required. We're doing
They were
good.
not even required. And we only had to pull like 2 teeth to get them afterwards.
Let's see. Shall we dive in?
Sure, start us off. What are we looking at?
All right. Let's see. I believe we'll be going bottom up. So first off, we've
The
got
scariest deck you've ever seen.
Yeah, this is pretty scary. This was Melissa, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
We've got Ambassador Twy, and I don't know about you, but there's an awful lot of things in here that say frighten. Kind of scary.
Yeah, I see a few of those for sure. We also have, of course, the dream of the guaranteed turn 2 flip in Twy.
I
With
mean, if she goes second and faces down Skystar, but
Yeah, that's true. Or, Snips its nails, which has happened.
yeah,
Or stupid yellow decks.
but there is a potential there.
Yes.
Flipping the dream.
So how many ways does this have to frighten? So far I'm counting 4 different cards, 5 different cards, 6 different cards? Different types.
It's got a
I've got 6 not counting the problem deck, which has Nightmare
Yes.
Knight as well as Through the Cave.
Oh man, that's a problem I haven't seen in a while.
I don't actually know if Through the
CG.
Cave frightens or not. I'm just assuming it does.
It does.
Okay.
Let's see here. Looks like about a 45 card deck. I see resource removal. I like it.
There you go. We got everything covered. We got some entry there. 3 of the Smooths, 3 Cloud Chasers, a couple Rainbow Dashes. Got some dilemmas to get around Troublemakers. AT gain from Read the Manual to go fast. Cloud Chaser to go fast. Wildfire to go fast.
So it goes fast and scares things.
Flash Magnus goes fast.
And scares things at the same time.
Yeah.
Seems like really the only purpose for purple in here is the resource removal and the AT gen.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose
Technically it can get some more frightened off, I think.
you
I mean, hey, the best way to go fast is to have lots of action tokens.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think it really is just for the AT gain, though. Look at all the other problems in the deck, with the exception of Through the Cave. They can all be confronted just by blue characters.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, still, having AT helps everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Oh, and blue is the off color, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm assuming that this is probably a deck that was built with minimal access to some of the newer cards, which is why we only see 1 copy of Pony Pirate and 1 copy of Daybreaker and 1 copy of Flash Magnus.
You would be correct in that assumption.
Yeah, because I recall the Canadian play groups have always had some issues getting a hold of Sequestria.
Well, we're going to do our best to fix that.
But details about that later.
Yes. I like to call them the Dream Cavalry here. The 3 of those, not only as an aggro tool, but because giving Rainbow Dash Pony Pirate Swift is
Terrible.
pretty good.
Funny.
It's like what would happen if Flash Magnus didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
Can we imagine a world where that happened?
Yes.
No. It's too frightening.
I see what you did there.
I'm a little concerned about the entry here, because I don't really count Cloud Chaser's entry because none of the blue has 1 wreck.
That's fair.
And so it's really just the 6.
Yes.
It'll work.
I mean, you do have Twy, so you've got the Meticulous, and you're starting out with Ancient Research. So, like, you've got some early game card throughput, or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's fine.
Maybe a little.
Yeah. Having a loyal pony, maybe. But again, with the rarity of Sequestria.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
All right, let's take a look at the next one.
Okay. Next up, I believe this is Cursed Chords.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. I think the Celestia main was a big hint.
Pretty much.
This is Cursed Chords sitting there and saying, I like the playstyle of BRB, but I want to play pure aggro, and I want to be fair instead.
I don't know. I only see 6 Celestia here.
Which
think
part
this-
of this playstyle is Verb playstyle?
Celestia's boosted condition allows you to put a friend in excess of your home limit back into your hand at the end of the turn.
Ah, yes, okay.
So he can, replay Swinging Wonders and replay Spitfire and replay like Pony Pirate and all kinds of good stuff. Replay Raptor Razor
And Bunyips.
and Bunyips. Replay the Bunyips and can just replay everything, assuming his opponent doesn't have a bedtime out.
Yeah.
Which he unfortunately ran into.
Oops.
Ah.
But no, there's a lot of good on play effects in here. It's
Yeah.
a very interesting and unconventional way to do that.
Yeah, you almost always think of those flicker type effects as being purple based, but the fact that you're capable of pulling something like that off in blue and yellow really just speaks volumes to how much there still is to explore in Harmony.
Mhm.
Also, that problem deck, man, look at those bonuses.
Is that a 3?
That's
a
a
3, isn't it?
That's a 3.
And none of these are Harmony problems, which had higher average bonus.
Correct. In fact, I think it's worth pointing out here that there is exactly one card in this entire deck that makes this a Harmony deck and not a core deck.
Yeah? Yeah? Unfortunately, it's also the card that makes that strategy work, so...
I mean, yeah,
That is kind of funny. It's just the main.
that's it.
That's it.
That's the only one.
This has...
There's actually a good amount that we can talk about there that we'll do after the deck lists have all been looked at, but that's not necessarily an unusual thing.
Yeah, let's see. 45 cards. And I think this has enough resource removal.
I'm counting at least 6.
I think that qualifies as enough.
Yep.
Seems good.
Got some entry there. That all looks fine. Yeah.
That is a lot of removal.
From what I understand, this also came about as one of his adventures in deck building last month.
It's interesting.
So props to him for taking it out for a spin.
Let's see. Next up. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. This is Colgate, I believe, running... Well, with this assortment of cards, this can only be a combo deck.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
Yeah,
I mean-
this is just clone combo.
So what was the story with this, GP? You
So the story with this is I like watching people play the card game. Even if they haven't played the card game in like 3 years.
it sounds about right, yeah.
And Colgate is notorious for having been able to perform extremely convoluted combos while operating at less than peak efficiency, shall we say.
Yep, and then... So I think what happened there is you handed him this and said, play, it'll be funny.
Yeah, basically.
And he played it, and I think it was funny.
It was funny. I think he had a good time.
I went up against this my first game. And it was actually really close. He was only, I think, like 2 or 3 AT short of being able to go off.
And considering what you were playing, that's saying something.
I think it's also one of the archetypes that has the best shot against what he was playing, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
Well, that's fair. A couple of the changes that have happened since Friends Forever came out are the Miss Mains have replaced the cleaning up because Miss Main is really good, and EEA Council has,
Because it's really good.
because it's really good. And Hyperbeam is in there as well because hand knowledge is really good. And Herd of Adoring Fans is in there because it lets you do silly things with backup vocals and really shaves down the amount of AT you need to be able to go off. And the number of cards. So,
Nice.
Yep. Not much else to say. It's makes token copies, gains lots of AT, draws
What's
its deck.
really cool is if you could play Herd of Adoring Fans on Fluttershy backup vocals.
Boy, it's like that would break the deck. What's up, Max?
I was just going to note that it's a core legal deck.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I wanted to note.
Yep, it is purely core legal. In fact, this is the exact same list that I'm running in Coco right now.
Hey, everybody, in case you wanted to know.
There's one more opponent still out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough about that deck.
Okay. Let's see. Next up, Max. I think this is yours.
I think this is actually O'Hara's Glimmer deck.
Yes, this is O'Hara's. Correct. Thank you. So, Glimmer, orange purple. Okay.
Best Pony.
I mean, if you're gonna
Glimmer.
play Glimmer, you're gonna play Factory Jack, and if you're playing Factory Jack, then you're orange purple. So
She gives you extra AT, right?
she gives
Like
you an extra ready phase.
Extra ready phase, yeah.
Yeah. And that can be really annoying to play against, because all of a sudden your opponent's like a full turn ahead of you in AT, and there's a lot of things in this deck that, like that portal right there, really obnoxious.
Oh yeah. I had the chance to play against O'Hara, and you did a good job of getting a lot of AT generators out. Got a rescue party out, and was kind of just building things up, and I was trying to deal with his entry. And then he played a Starlight Glimmer taking charge, redeeming the other Starlight.
One of the troublemakers, presumably.
Uh-huh. And then I evil twinned it.
Is that the one that banishes and then takes control and then like becomes a copy?
Yes.
Okay.
Oops.
Generally speaking, it is not advisable to give your opponent a free Starlight Glimmer taking charge.
I mean,
No, not really.
yeah.
But, had that not happened, there would have been quite a few dangerous cards that were coming down. Caldera can obviously get really big, Catajack can get really big.
Well, Catajack just in general.
Sure, Catajack is just impactful. And if he happens to draw one of his two Singing Barrels, then you can get Luna out.
Yeah, hard casting.
Little light on resource removal. Only 2 pieces. Plus the Catajacks.
Well, to be fair, Big Mac is repeatable.
That's true. And it is Harmony as well.
Uh-huh.
But otherwise, interesting list.
Next one?
Sure.
I think this was,
Summer's deck.
yeah, Summer.
What changelings?
Tell us how you feel about this deck, Ara.
I think there's 5 cards in here that are okay. No, yeah, 5 cards. Okay. Yep.
Wait, which 5 cards?
The 3 Pharynxes that aren't traitors and the 2 Chrysalises that are definitely not traitors.
Oh, so you don't like Trader Pharynx. Okay.
Now, because now he's a traitor. He's the least traitorous of all the changelings. behind our queen herself, but you know. Anyway, yes, lots of changelings in an Ocellus. And I think the star of this deck is probably Timble, merely because, wow, that gets silly. I also like this
scoring extra points.
This Ocellus Master of Disguise with the Sclerites. It's kind of good. Because with the Sclerite, you can turn on up to 2 of the abilities on Ocellus, in addition to whatever other colors you've got. So it's like, wow, that's it's kind of good.
So you get like four of them.
I also like the Timble with Find the Music in You, just in case your opponent manages to get rid of it, and you can say, nope.
Excuse me, I was using that. Let's just get it back. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's got some Kool-Aid acts in there.
And the bedtime, the 2 copies of bedtime here are interesting because while it's definitely not doing you any aggressive favors, when you've got 3 unsatisfactory works and 2 copies of Lilo and 3 Yonas.
I believe you mean Kool-Aid Yak.
I do mean Kool-Aid Yak. Oh yeah! You thought a persistent swift friend that could bounce 3 power opposing friends was good. How about one that just banishes them?
That seems really annoying. Like, really annoying.
Let's move it with Defend the Hive, too, and let's confront 2 problems.
That also seems annoying.
Nah, it's great. Yeah, very, very fun tribal take in the Harmony format, including, well, at least 1 Harmony card.
Yeah, tribal
Chrissy?
at least.
Is it
Next
just
list?
1 again? Yeah, it is just 1.
No, it can't be just 1, because there's the...
It's just 1.
Huh. Alright.
Now on to Max's deck.
Yeah. Good deck. 5 of 7,
Max,
mostly hissing.
tell us about your deck.
Yeah, so this Glimmer deck, I've been kind of working it, nursing it for, I guess, a little over a year now. And really the origin of it was just I saw the Starlight main, and I just wanted to do something with it because I think it has it's the mechanic on the boosted side. I thought it was pretty unique. Of course, this was before the Sands and Time mains were legal, so I kind of felt like there's got to be something fun you can do with this deck. And a lot of credit in this does go to Pages. Me and him over a couple of weekends kind of tested it out and built it out. And this is kind of what it's turned into post Friends Forever. Of course, Friends Forever gave it a bit more AT gen with Starlight Guidance Counselor. I think the new problem, the 2/2 antiquing, I think that's also helpful for kind of getting to what I need in this deck. But there's still some old standbys. I mean, Destiny Drain is hung on. Gyro, I think, is just really central to this. I've tried building core variants of this deck, and they kind of tend to fall apart without the ability to kind of grab a event on demand with Gyro. But I think the core of this definitely lies in its AT gen. If I were to look at kind of my record with this deck, it all comes down to, can I get that AT gen out? Can I get that advantage going? And when I don't, it just never is able to really get going, if that makes sense.
Well, you're packing 9 AT generators, and that's usually a pretty good place to start if that's what you're trying to leverage. Not to mention the fact that you've got the Remarkables in there, too.
Yeah, no, it's definitely sort of at the core what this has been built around.
Just so much AT.
Yeah, you definitely, like, when I draw my first hand, I'm usually aggressively mulliganing for a Factory Jack, both to get that early AT gen and also to lockdown orange entry off Trading Traditions. So usually that's kind of the deciding factor on whether I keep or not at the start of the game is there Factory Jack, yes or no?
That's fair. I like the Brayburn's in here as a free option of getting your orange rec, because every orange card you have in the deck that you'd realistically play is at 2 or less rec.
Except for, I think, is it Coriander is the one?
No, he's
Nope,
2.
he's at 2.
It's just Brayburn himself. That is higher than 2.
That's kind of funny.
And he's also, I mean, if I'm up against, say a deck like Melissa's that we saw earlier with a lot of Frighten, he gets that ability. And also, if I'm in a pinch, he is AT efficient, the 2-for-1. So I like that about him.
That's fair.
Now, I'm kind of curious here because I don't think we've seen any decks running this otherwise. I see a school shutdown over there.
I see 2 of them.
Yeah, so those were 2 of the additions I made with Friends Forever. Mainly, I was going into this tournament, I was kind of worried about farm. And so I did put those in kind of as, a panic button against troublemakers. That's kind of the main reason those are there. But I mean, it is also, purple board wipe can be useful just as that panic button.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear how well School Shutdown ends up working versus Farm, just because Farm very rarely leaves up its troublemakers for more than a turn.
Yeah, that is true. I think I did not get to play against a farm deck in the Harmony tournament, but that is something that will require more play testing.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, you've got 3 Ursa Vanquishers in there, so you've still got options.
Yeah, I think in one of our games that came easily into your favor because it made a giant mess out of my board.
Yeah, I believe our game, it was the only one I got it out. And yeah, I remember that was kind of just I felt you were just in too good a board position, so I felt it was worth the AT to play it.
Yeah, that fixed that issue quite well, didn't it?
I forget what happened in our game.
I don't think we played Cheese. I don't remember
We
playing
did.
it.
Round 3.
Then I don't recall either then.
Huh.
Oh well.
Let's see, what do we got next? This is Carrie's deck, I believe.
Now
Yep.
we're getting to some Harmony goodness here.
Oh boy.
Not that Max's did not have Harmony goodness, because it clearly did, but this is not the only 6-color deck in this tournament. That says something.
This is this has some stuff in it.
But realistically, this deck is 2-color?
Yeah. Realistically, this deck is a 2-color deck. With, let's count them.
It leans kind of heavily on...
It really doesn't lean heavily on anything else. There's you can make the argument for
orange,
purple
white.
because of the one special beam cannon, but that's like
yeah, that's what I was going for, but
this is pure and simply a reanimator deck. There's nothing else to call this. It has 8 individual cards that can return friends from the discard pile to play. 6 of which are pretty standard in Orchard Blossom and Redeeming Qualities.
Discord pile, is that the one? Yeah.
And that's the other one.
Yeah,
I think... Go ahead.
Discord pile, it having play tested against this in our play group. Discord pile is when you're on the opponent side and your opponent plays Discord pile against you. With a deck like this, you kind of just put your head in your hands, because often it's between a bad choice and an awful choice that you have to make.
I think we're actually going to get. This player here to talk about his deck.
Some point, maybe.
I think he's gonna try his best to hop on here, so we can stall for time in the meantime.
By stall for time in the meantime, do you mean go on to the next deck list?
Sure. Let's do that. We will revisit this in just a moment.
Okay. Let's see. Moving on from that for now.
Combo!
Aggro combo, even. Anyone want to take a guess as to who is piloting this, just based on what it is? Spoilers! No?
I mean, I know.
Of course you do. This, of course, is Sokol with his usual Seleno combo thing. And as usual, it did pretty well for itself. I think he was having much better luck with his Troublemaker combos this time. Because evidently he actually got a Tempest and Grubber off, just off of the Tempest Troublemaker several times against people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, against me, too.
Which is hilarious and something that normally doesn't happen.
It was an interesting interaction where you uncover both of the Troublemakers and then you place both triggers into pre-priority processing, and you retire Grubber to Uniqueness if you played them both the same problem. Then you process Grubber's triggers first, or whenever, and then you do Tempest, and it's great.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that particular interaction in more detail, but I just think it's funny that it works.
It works.
I swear it really works.
I forget the rest of that.
Something.
But he's not running any of those anymore. I think he swapped.
No, he's not. He may have. Well, I don't know if he would have actually appreciated having them or not.
I think he has. Because I think I've heard him comment explicitly that just hold the card up and grin, which is never not hilarious.
That's fair. It's a fun way to just gain a bunch of points. Meticulous Talks made a couple great observations on this earlier this morning, where this is a deck that is pretty safe to play in just about any meta, because with very few exceptions, your opponent is not going to be able to meaningfully disrupt what it is that you're trying to do, which is just score points with your main. They basically need to be blocking off problems entirely to prevent your Troublemakers from flipping.
Just dumping epics up there, or filtering his deck with Sweetie Belle and just being like, oh, that's a Tempest, you can't have that. Oh, that's can't have that either. But, yeah.
The rarities are in there just for extra point gain. The cards that are not part of the combo in here are designed to help you be as efficient as possible or help your combo work, which is what combo does. And the great thing with Seleno is it's not a straight one-turn kill combo like Cloney is. It's more like Pile in that you gain some points this turn and you gain some points the next turn, and you just kind of go from there. So you can supplement your combo point gain with, like, aggro point gain.
Yeah.
I mean, this does have some swinging wonders. Yeah, there he is.
It's very good at doing that.
Hey, Pages.
Hey, stranger. Let's see if his push to talk is set up properly.
Hello?
Hey!
Hello.
I forgot what my push to talk button was. It's been like 4 years.
There we go. All right, back to Page's deck.
Oh, hi. Just in
Hi.
time, I guess. Just barely.
That was actually perfect timing.
Let me pull the deck list. All right, let me see here. Well, I have a lot of singletons. So I decided to play a Reanimator pretty much right when whatever set it was that made it possible happen. I think it was Defenders.
Yeah, I think it was the Starlight, Redeemed Starlight and Defenders, if I recall.
Yeah, the Redeemed Starlight made me want to try it out. As you can see, there are no more copies of that card in that deck. Unfortunately, it did not play out as well as I'd hoped.
Well, when she doesn't give you the color rec, it's a lot harder to make it work.
Yeah, pretty much. So I've been like kind of playing this deck ever since Defenders. And it's been a lot of fun. It's really swingy. Sometimes you get crazy Discord pile plays turn like 3. Sometimes you have to hardcast everything. And there have been multiple occasions at Vanhoover where I had to pay like 5 to play Luna, or any Alicorn, which really feels bad. But when you kind of have to get it out there, sometimes the deck doesn't fire.
Man, can you imagine having to pay 5 for your Alicorns?
For your
Sucks,
5
man.
cost friends.
Jeez.
You
Yeah.
only have 1 cost reduction thing in here, I think.
It's the cadence, I believe.
Oh no, you have Cadence. Sorry, but you also have
Apple Bloom.
And Apple Bloom, yeah.
I always
I was-
forget that part of Cadence.
That part of cadence is pretty good. The +3, I think it's a +3 or +2 to
plus
pay
2.
events is
+2.
really, really good.
Oh yeah.
A lot of, I think, I think there are some cards I just ran one of because they've helped me in the past. Also, I kind of threw in all the Friends Forever cards pretty much right before the tournament started.
That's fair.
So I did not have a lot of experience playing with certain cards like Old Money or Chrysalis or even the Fire Friendship.
So maybe that's a question we should ask you then, is if you had the chance to update this deck, having played with a lot of these cards, would you make any changes?
I think it's really meta dependent, especially in kind of like a more aggro-centric location. Well, in Vancouver, I might consider putting back in some popping corns. I used to have those in the deck, and those helped up a lot locally. But I figured that with a more varied player base, I might have to be more general. I would like to have another cadence because I felt like the card did quite a bit. But I only had
busted.
one. Yeah, I would like to try Miss Main. I'm not entirely convinced by looking at it, but I would like to try it out. I think, but there are some cards I want to keep. Nightmare Moon was a card that I was kind of trying out, and it did bite me in the butt at least once.
I mean, she's good at doing that.
Oh yeah. Actually, it was against Sokol's Celiano combo deck.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
lost to because I went like turn 2 Nightmare Moon, somehow lost to Nightmare Moon, and then he punched her out. He didn't play a Troublemaker the entire game.
Ooh. He just
and
aggroed?
won because Nightmare Moon got there.
Oof.
Wow.
And
So
sometimes that happens with this deck. Sometimes you get like a turn 3 Discord pile, put a Luna in, turn 4 Discord pile, put like Twilight in, and your opponent has nothing in their discard pile, so you just got 2 Alicorns for practically nothing, and then you just steamroll them. Sometimes that happens too. There's a lot of varied plays with the deck I've found.
So one thing I'm wondering about is Princess Cadence Crystal Princess.
Ah, yes. Well, there is a pretty well-known Applejack farm player in our play group who doesn't quite play the game anymore in that sense, but that did some work.
Okay.
Her legacy lives on.
Oh yes. Actually, back at I believe it was Everfree this last year, I played Sokol's Celiano deck again, or for the first time, and Cadence did kind of stop him from getting his combos off.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a silver bullet in case I run into, some annoying Troublemaker decks. And I found it does help in the past. Or sometimes you flip it and then proceed to get 15-0'd. That happens too.
That's fair.
So Sokol won the run back. I'm not, happens.
Okay. Well, thanks for giving us the breakdown on this.
Yeah, no problem.
Ready to take a look at the next one?
Yep.
I believe we'll jump back in here. So speaking of Reanimator,
I think we're on to GP's deck now.
It's a sub-theme at best.
Now this is a Harmony deck. It has so many Harmony cards.
There are a few Harmony cards. But much like Pages, I have a great enthusiasm for cards like Princess Luna, and Princess Twilight, and Princess Cadence, and Old Money, and Queen Chrysalis. Because it turns out those cards are really good.
Oh, you only had one copy of Meadowbrook?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you didn't see that copy.
I mean, I had 3 Old Monies.
That's a difference between taking them out one at a time and
So there had been these mains that were kind of sitting there floating in the ether for like 3 years. And one of them was far more exciting than the other. And then both of those mains became Harmony legal, and I was like, yes, I must do this. I must play Paradox Pony. And so I did. And it is some of the most fun I've ever had in Harmony. If you have a Paradox Pony deck, and you have big, expensive, multicolor friends that you really, really wish you could just cheat into play, and you don't want to go the Reanimator route, or not entirely the Reanimator route, you can do Paradox Pony things. A key factor to this deck's success, I think, is in the starting problem and Fluttershy backup vocals. Because Paradox Pony, once she establishes a board state, is in a pretty good place, but up until that point is doing almost nothing. So you really want to get her flipped as soon as possible. And many of your problems beyond the starting one are not going to be very easy to confront, which means you're at the mercy of your opponent. If you have Fluttershy backup vocals, though, because your starting problem is infiltrating the hive, you can choose to pay 2 AT and discard 2 cards, and then spend another 4 AT and play backup vocals, and just flip your main right away. And because there are some reanimation tools here in this deck with Rarity, Element of Generosity, and Redeeming Qualities, those cards that you're discarding are actually just making it even easier for you.
yeah, go ahead and discard a Cadence and a Luna, and then eventually play a Rarity, and just look at your opponent and go, so I choose the Cadence and the Luna, so what flavor of pain would you like today? To quote Max from earlier, I believe it is, there's a bad option and then there's a worse option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from that, the deck relies on being able to get a lot of these very expensive, very impactful friends into play, and either A, keeping them around beyond the end of the turn through cheating,
Shenanigans, somehow.
or B, having them go back to your hand because you want to continually get their enters play effects again and again and again, and you want to spend less AT to do so. So cards like Meadowbrook, or Coco Pamel, or Old Money, or Queen Chrysalis, or Catajack are likely cards that you're just going to sit there and play and let return to your hand. But cards like Luna and Twilight can actually stick around through the end of the turn. Luna can frighten herself, or for that matter, any other friend that you have that you put into play with Twilight, and when a card becomes frightened, it's a new card. So it's not affected by the same modifier, so it gets to stick around.
Do keep in mind that you can't scare stuff with Luna if you got Twilight out, though.
Correct. The good news is, though, if you do have Twilight out, anytime one of your friends would leave play, you can just pay a tax of 2 AT, and it'll enter play again at the end of the turn.
Although this does
So then
render...
that means you're paying 5 for everything.
Yeah.
Sure. But you're not having to pay the color rec for it.
Yeah.
Cute.
All in all, it's just a super fun deck that lets you really abuse some powerful enters play effects while building up a massive board state, and the reanimation theme is nice as a sub-theme. I would probably drop 1 element of generosity to add in a 3rd backup vocals, because backup vocals is that good. Oh, also, you hate Desert Road more than any other deck in existence.
I mean, pretty much.
I don't think more than any other deck in existence. To be fair, you do have multiple ways of dealing with it.
Mysterious disappearance in its future.
That's why you have so many ways of dealing with it, is because you hate it so much.
That's fair. Unfortunately.
I think I recall playing a Desert Road against you, and then it like immediately going away.
Yes. You actually discarded Desert Road against me, which we thought was an interesting play. A couple cute things to keep in mind, like Pages was talking about, Cadence has some very powerful abilities, and it's easy to forget that her first ability works. In many cases, once you get into the late game, it can actually be better to play the card with Cadence rather than bounce it if it's something you want to remain in play. And you can also use Twilight's ability with Pinkie Pie Every Pony's PFF to get any friend out of your deck and then get Pinkie back in your hand, and although it's more expensive than just playing her, you don't need the wreck, and it's reusable. It is also worth noting that even though Princess Cadence and Princess Luna are both unique, it doesn't mean you can't have two of them in play at the same time in this deck.
Yes. Yay, Queen Chrissy.
Yay, Queen Chrissy. Okay, that's all I got.
Next deck.
Okay, here we've got a returning deck from well, I don't want to say last year's, but the 2017
Yes.
Brony Can. So its legacy lives on. And I believe this is the exact same deck.
And it
So-
actually won that year, I believe. 17? Yeah.
Yep. It did.
Unfortunately, the pilot did not have time to alter this for the post Friends Forever meta. If it did, he probably would have included definitely lacking lesson plans, because if there's one thing this deck doesn't like, it's troublemakers getting in the way of it going fast.
Well, to be fair, there's one other thing this deck doesn't like.
That is true.
You want to tell us about that?
You'll notice that this deck has 0 blue entry,
Yes.
and it is entirely reliant on trading traditions to get into blue. And it does not like it if trading traditions goes away before it plays something blue. That's
It
all
can
I got
just
to say about
wait
that.
to flip through 9 more problems.
I suppose that's true. You've got 3 Snips and Snails. You can burrow through your deck faster that way.
No. Would not recommend.
No. Outside of that, though, it is blue-pink. And if there's one thing blue-pink is good at doing, it's going fast.
Very
Dismissing
fast.
things.
Well, it's good at that, too. So we've got some Wildfires
But
and
there
Night
is
Gliders.
no Berry Punch and Orange Swirl.
No, there's not, which is an interesting choice.
I don't think it needs it. I mean, would I run them personally? Yeah, probably. But that gets in the way of this deck going fast. This player does not necessarily expect there to be opposing friends at problems, because if it's working right, they're not going to have a whole lot of, stuff up there.
The 3 Wonderbolts Wraps, the 3 2-bits, the Cullen, the Dream Cavalries, the Changeling Can Changes, the Conga Lining Friends, the Angel Wings.
I heard you like AT Acceleration.
I think it's just missing Cloud Chaser, and then it's got the full gamut.
Yep.
But it is a case study in why certain unspoken rules exist in the game for entry.
Yep.
because it is entirely conceivable, which is with as much removal running around as there is now, that this deck could at some point be locked out of blue. And if that ever happens, well, you can count the number of cards in this deck that are playable without it.
Yeah. I went up against Curtis in round 2, and I don't really remember what happened other than AJ doing AJ things.
Next deck.
Next deck.
Here we got
Fluttershy.
effectively mono yellow Fluttershy.
Okay, so I need you to settle a debate I was having with Hithrock earlier this morning, Aura.
Okay.
What color is Aloe?
I heard this.
Colorless.
I'm sorry, Cheese, what was your answer?
Colorless.
Thank you.
She is white entry.
It's okay that you're wrong.
No, it's okay that you're wrong.
I mean, technically, she does provide some white.
Yes.
But she's still a colorless card.
Okay, now here, settle me a debate. What color is Trixie Rock Farmer?
Purple.
Correct.
I believe that your answer is inconsistent because it should have been colorless. Because according to you, entry is colorless. Right? Right? Okay, good. Moving on.
Okay.
Alright. Yeah, so Fluttershy does Fluttershy things. And she doesn't care much if she loses face-offs, because she's probably going to be confronting 2 problems every turn once she flips. Then there's some Bunyips, and Bunyips are cool. Then there's some Kool-Aid-Yaks, and those are cool. Then there's some Day Shifts, and those are cool. Basically, there's a lot of cool cards in here. Turns out that yellow's actually pretty good. This is a core deck as well.
I think it's pretty telling how many cards in this deck are from just the last 2 sets.
Except
Yeah.
Aloe. Grin?
Aloe, Philomena, Marble Pie, Bunyip. Like, friends are always there, and one of the dilemmas.
There's some stuff in the problem deck too, but yeah.
Sure.
But I think like 50% of the deck is from the last 2 sets.
Over 50%, yeah.
So, yeah, Yellow got some fun toys in the last couple of sets.
I agree
Oh,
with
yeah.
Hithrock.
It's like 2/3.
Cloud Chaser is colorless.
I mean, yeah. Back in Premiere, it was colorless.
Just like Aloe is.
No, I disagree. No, Hithrock's answers are inconsistent. Alright, you know what? I don't know what to think anymore.
Pages, weigh in on this. What color is Aloe?
White.
Ah!
Max?
Well, her coat is very clearly pink.
Ooh.
Ooh!
A new challenger has entered the arena.
A new challenger has appeared.
Cloud Chaser's purple, buddy.
I'm
That's
really,
fair.
really glad Cloud Chaser is not purple. I agree with Aracat on everything. Okay.
Alright.
Ride
See?
or die, baby.
Twilight.
Next deck?
Let's see. I think this is our final deck. Mono-
It's still here.
Jack.
It's still here. It still does the things.
So,
And I'd like to present my thesis on why AJ was banned from Core. And it's this deck.
this deck isn't even core legal.
It's
Yeah.
not core legal by a long shot.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Because this is why we can't have nice things. Because AJ is still freaking stupid.
Yeah, I got the privilege, I guess we'll call it, of playing cheese in the last round and had the absolute nuts hand against him. I'm not sure I could have picked a better hand.
And you still died horribly?
And not horribly, but I still lost the game.
Yeah. So
I
AJ
don't know,
does
I
AJ
just,
things.
beat up troublemakers.
And then
That's all you do.
you're sitting here running Pony of Shadows, and you've got a whopping 6 targets to pick from. And basically every single one of those you're happy to see. This is crazy.
I am not happy to see Element of Honesty. I was sad every time that card showed up.
If you had 2 epic troublemakers, it would have been fine, because then you could have just challenged.
Yeah. I don't know,
And-
against a lot of the decks here, I was not comfortable doing 5 versus Troublemaker.
Yeah, that's fair. It is important to note that the elements are in there for one reason. And I don't know if he's currently here in chat right now or not. Doesn't look like he is. But they're there for the fireworks combo deck. Because discarding your entire deck feels really bad. But getting rid of Nightmare Moon feels really good.
Yeah.
And I think I just have to throw this out there. Everything changed when the Fireworks Nation attacked.
Sure, we'll go with that. Cheese, can you tell us a little bit about one change that we did see here, which was the starting problem?
Yeah, social obligations in this deck is just crazy. Like, you get a stick out, 1 AT, frighten a friend, gain diligent counters, score a point. Like, oh, and you're not confronting if you needed to do something at the opponent's problem. Or even at your own purple problems. You got the 2 over. Well, like, it doesn't. Social obligations isn't going to help when you have your own problem. But yeah, you're not going to confront the opponent's problem.
Because yeah.
And just like, oh, I beat up a troublemaker and got an extra point. Now all my troublemakers have +1 bonus.
It seems good.
Like, it pulled a lot of weight.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'll say that in my nightmares, this deck shows up. Or it's happened.
Do you wake up in cold sweats?
It was Applejack. It was Applejack.
Diligent, diligent, diligent.
She had like
Oh.
40 counters on her.
20-something power.
Extra flips.
She's always odd, but... Oh, unless you move power, but...
She just keeps flipping cards.
Yeah, Brave and the Bold and Barrel Through was nice.
Plus Desperate Times and Feeding the Front Lines. And Rescue Party.
Yeah.
Dumb. It's a stupid deck.
In this meta, I would have rather had 3 rescue parties, but...
Yeah, that's fair.
You say it was stupid, but I think you mean the other thing, the effective. That's the word.
It's a stupid deck.
If it's
Not
stupid,
enough troublemakers.
if it's
Fe-
of course.
Feathers would agree. There are not enough troublemakers.
What is it? Because 9, 10,
Speak on
11,
her
12,
behalf.
13. 13 ethics? Like,
It's kind of pathetic.
I
it's
mean,
kind
it
of
is,
ridiculous.
but it's also got sticks.
It does also have stick. And Social Obligations is just really good. It shaves down the number of troublemakers you need to run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay. So let's take just a brief moment or two here and reflect back on this and what we've learned from the tournament.
smiles.
Yay!
Oh, let's get there.
Peppa Pig still doesn't know how to whistle.
Oh my
Oh
god.
god.
You'll have to. Stop that. Ow. That's it. That's it. I'm hanging up the phone on you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so class, what have we learned today?
We've learned Applejack is stupid.
Reanimation's kind of good.
Fluttershy Those
Aggro.
Fluttershy things?
Yellow has a place again?
Yeah. I think the biggest takeaway I see here is it's been a while since we looked at Harmony, and there have been multiple sets that have come out. And when you think about it, there are, I think, 2 more sets that are legal in Core than there are sets that are exclusively legal in Harmony. Not counting extra promo cards and things like that. And there was a big design philosophy change between Absolute Discord, which was the end of the Premier block, and Equestrian Odysseys, which was the start of Core legal cards. And so as more and more cards get added to the Core format with that new design philosophy, there are better and better cards and more of them to be able to play. So I think Harmony is going to start looking more and more like Core until a set rotation happens.
Yeah. But there's always going to be those premier cards that are just ridiculously strong that is just going to keep showing up
Those,
For
in
sure.
Harmony forever.
those 63 reasons to play Harmony?
Basically. Yeah, those cards that there just isn't an analog for, or are just overtuned, just much better than anything else that exists, or, whatever it happens to be, or they're just epic troublemakers.
Oh, yeah.
Nightmare Moon with like a word.
Yeah. And obviously there's some unique main effects as well. We saw Cursed ran a deck that was only Harmony because of its main.
I think we're gonna start seeing more of those actually.
More decks that are just Harmony legal because of their main.
Yeah.
Orange Luna is still a great main. You obviously had some good Harmony cards in there too, but still.
Yeah, I mean, like Curtis's deck, it just had the main and Snips and Snails.
No, it had a lot more than that.
And 2
Wildfire, Cloud Chaser, 2 bits. Actually, no, it didn't have Cloud
No,
Chaser.
Cloud Chaser.
Wildfire, 2 bits, Snips and Snails.
And Wildfire isn't really critical. Like, there's a replacement for that. It's really just the 2 bits.
And Vinyl herself, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is not far off from Core.
No, it isn't. But like I said, the main 2 those points, yeah.
I think the good news here as well is that means that if you don't have a lot of the older cards, you can still play Harmony, and you can still be pretty competitive with it, even if you just use newer cards. Especially if you're just trying to use newer cards for aggro. Because most of the powerful aggro cards have only really been printed since, Core format sets. And that's a good thing for the Harmony meta as a whole, because without some of these aggro decks, it would be pretty degenerate.
You gotta keep the control decks honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised we didn't see more combo running around at this one.
We didn't have enough bodies. We would have thrown more combo decks at people.
Yeah, and combo's not very popular up here either.
Combo's not popular anywhere.
That's a lie. Combo is very popular in California.
What, because you 2 play it?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Max, what about you? Any takeaways?
Mostly, I mean, I really enjoyed the Harmony tournament. I liked just the variety that showed up. I think I got to agree with Pages. I think that I hope that people, take a look back to Premier Block and, maybe look for some of the more interesting cards that were there and maybe get some inspiration to try and build something around it.
Well, it's always great when we have events like this that come up because it gives people an excuse to go back and look through their collections and start mucking around, playing in the mud again, as we like to phrase it. So, how about another excuse to do so?
Yeah, more tournaments. That'd be cool.
Tournaments? What kind of tournaments?
How about store championships?
That'd be cool. It's been a
Really?
while since we had this.
It has been quite some time since we had store championships. I think it's about time that we hold another series.
Go on.
So we are very excited to announce that the next set of MLP CCG Store Championships is happening very soon. Specifically, there are going to be 2 available weekends where stores and playgroups can choose to run these store championship events. It's going to be next month, the weekend of February 15th, 16th, and 17th, or, if you choose, the weekend of February 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. It is up to your playgroup and your local store to decide what day and time you want to run the event. But it is also up to you to decide what format you'd like your store championship to be played in.
Sequestria Block Popper.
Nightmare.
Between the Harmony and the core format choices.
Canterlot Knights.
Canterlot Knights sealed.
Oh my god, no.
You remember Pages, you remember how fun it was, don't lie.
It was awful.
Ugh.
It was terrible.
I'm down for some Harmony block draft. I mean, we did that. It was a blast.
So yes, this is going to allow players to choose. If you have a group that really likes playing with a lot of the older cards or doesn't have a lot of the newer stuff, that's totally fine. You can run this as a Harmony tournament, or you can run it as a core tournament. It's up to you. And to the best of our ability, we are going to extend these store championships beyond US boundaries. That means that if you are a member of a playgroup that is internationally located, we're still going to do everything we can to get you what you need to be able to run this event. We only ask that the store covers the shipping portion of the material. In order to make this easy, we have a sign-up form, which we would encourage any local playgroup leaders to fill out. That will include information like the store, the date, the time, the format, and the store's contact information. That form has been linked in chat in the sidebar right now. There are about 4 weeks before the first available weekend for these store championships to take place. And every store championship kit is going to include 36 booster packs to be used as prize support, along with some special promo cards. And instructions on how to run the event, just in case you haven't done that before.
So, yeah, there's the form. Go check it
Exciting.
out. Fill some stuff out. Get cards. Run events.
Cool.
It's going to be a good time.
It is going to be a good time. We'll make sure that that form is posted in the various channels as well. And you may feel free to contact us if you need to obtain a copy of it so that you can provide it to your local game store. For now, though, that will about wrap up our discussion for tonight. We would like to give a big shout out to all of our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. And if you aren't currently a patron and you enjoy what we do, please consider donating, as doing so enables us to continue making content like this. If you have comments or questions that you'd like to send our way, or you're just interested in hearing about what we're working on for the future, there are many ways you can stay in contact. We have our Patreon, as mentioned previously, but you can also reach us through Facebook, Twitter, and email. Patrons at or above the $5 per month level also get access to our Slack channel, where you can chat live with us any day, just about any time. How many of us here have sane sleep schedules?
Nobody is answering.
I have a sane sleep schedule.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
We're trying our best to fix that.
Look at this fancy person.
I know, right?
I didn't say I
Fancy
enjoyed.
pants.
I didn't say I enjoyed having it. If you're looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them on our YouTube channel, which is linked in the sidebar. And please make sure to subscribe so we can actually have a channel URL that's a little easier to remember. But with all that said, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. We are, as always, Commentary is Magic. I am, as always, Grand Paws.
Big cheese.
Arquette and our 2 special guests.
Max.
And Pages. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, always fun. You're always welcome. We'll see you all here in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.